any single major scandal involving any of our people. Rather, what we have are incidents of Nigerians being appointed to important city and state positions and being conferred distinctions by their professional societies and organizations. I had the honor and privilege of publicly honoring 2 of them during the last celebration of the anniversary of our independence. It is quite clear that the image of the ugly Nigerians has been banished. What we now have is a Nigerian community in the United States now being described as the most literate, educated, and skilled immigrant community. For this, the country is proud of you. In my address to the various communities I visited, I've always stressed the fact that there is now a paradigm shift in the country. This affects the way we conduct official relations, our attitude to work, and when we discharge our responsibilities to our fellow men. Back home, the government conducted an internationally acclaimed free and fair election, appointed individuals of high professional competence and exemplary personal integrity to key cabinet positions, and launched a transformation program. On our part in the mission, we have taken a cue from what the government is doing at home and have launched a program of delivering quality service to our people in the United States. When I came in April 2010, there was only one place where you could deal with your consular issues. This was New York. We were able to get the government to provide more consular opportunities in terms of passport and visa issuance in Atlanta and Washington, in addition to the one in New York. Not only that, we have been conducting consular interventions whereby we move to cities within the United States, process and issue passports and visas to our citizens without them needing to travel to our offices in Atlanta, New York, or Washington, D.C. It's not been a perfect exercise, but quite a number of people have got their passport through that. Many of you have by now have received the e-passport. The process becomes easier when we open our consulate in San Francisco and when we learn from lessons, mistakes in the previous exercise. Our officers have been instructed to pursue, promote, and protect the interests of Nigerians. The embassy and the consulates are there to serve your needs, and we shall give you our very best. Fellow Nigerians, one major reason why I asked for this meeting is to bring you up to date on the latest development on 2 issues which in recent past have not been given us the type of image we would have liked. One of these is Boko Haram, the other is Oils Subsidy Removal crisis. I believe you are familiar with the damage which Boko Haram have been doing to our image and the threat it poses to our unity and security. The origin of Boko Haram, as we all know, is kind of shrouded in mystery. Even though their current leader, Yusuf, has been killed, the group, like a hydra-headed monster, has continued to attack innocent civilians of all persuasions and religions in the northern part of the country, thereby disrupting the lives of the people. Apart from the attack on the Abuja United Nations building, which was a serious diplomatic embarrassment to Nigeria, recent Christmas attack on churches in Suleja, and the unfortunate reprisal attacks on mosques and the Hausa community in the Delta State constitute a serious threat to our country's unity. Perhaps the worst thing is the notice allegedly issued by Boko Haram asking people of southern origin to leave their place of sojourn in the north. I am prepared to concede that not all the threats purported to have been issued by Boko Haram came from the group. Some criminal elements have seized on the activities of the Boko Haram to commit atrocities allegedly on behalf of the group. Recently, our security services intercepted a group of people from the southern part of the country, masterminding and writing death threat letters to people allegedly on behalf of Boko Haram. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you that our security services are very well equipped and of sufficient competence to deal and contain the dangers posed by Boko Haram. I also want to stress that arising from international condemnation of terrorism and its threat to world peace, we are receiving adequate support and assistance from our international friends without compromising our independence and freedom of action. Nigeria can and will deal with whatever security problems Boko Haram or any group will present. We dealt successfully with militants in Niger Delta. some of our friends, especially in our host country, have been suggesting that we should adopt a multifaceted approach to Boko Haram, and that force alone will not bring an end to the problem. They point to the fact that it was the amnesty program and not force that brought an end to militancy in Niger Delta. They are also telling us now that even America is beginning to negotiate with Taliban. We agree. The problem, though, is that while the militants in Niger Delta and the Taliban have acknowledged leaders and the cause for which they were fighting, the same cannot be said of Boko Haram. No one person has appeared to be the leader of Boko Haram. Saying Western education is sinful and using Western manufactured firearms to pursue the cause shows a basic confusion in, and perhaps a complete lack of stated objectives rather than causing confusion. I can assure you that the government is not opposed to and is very well prepared to engage with Boko Haram leaders if and when they emerge and make clear their grievances and all objectives. Let me stress again that the government is committed to providing adequate security and freedom to move and settle anywhere for all the citizens of the country. The Boko Haram episode has already been mentioned by some of our friends in the US as a disincentive for them to invest in our country. I believe we have succeeded in making it clear to them that first, there are 36 states in Nigeria. Boko Haram is active in only 4 of these states. The president has declared a state of emergency, which means heightened security provisions in those areas. But what is important is that every country has its own security problems, with some dragging on for decades. United Kingdom did not close down because of decades of RA disturbances. 9/11 did not significantly affect the position of the United States as the most powerful and economically dominant nations of the world. No, the Boko Haram people are hearing me.
I don't know what is that. Oops.
Thank you. I will take that paragraph again. The Boko Haram episode has already been mentioned by some of our friends in the US as a disincentive for them to invest in our country. I believe we have succeeded in making clear to them there are 36 states in Nigeria. Boko Haram is active in only 4. In this 4 states, the president has declared a state of emergency, which means heightened security provisions. Every country has its own security problem, with some dragging on for decades. The United Kingdom did not close down because of decades of RA disturbances. 9/11 did not significantly affect the position of the United States as the most powerful and economically dominant nation of the world. Oil companies from all over the world conducted businesses and made good profits in the Niger Delta during the days of Niger Delta militancy. And the Niger Delta crisis was there when we privatized our telecommunication industry. European and American companies made good profits of Nigeria, the type of which many of them have never made within such a short period. Boko Haram should not be a disincentive for any serious potential investor in Nigeria. In the past couple of days, the mission in Washington has engaged with both the public and private sectors in the United States on the issue of Boko Haram and the first of the crisis. I'm glad to report that our message has been sinking in. I will also give an evidence to this that when last I was at the State Department, they were asking questions whether the proposed meeting on the Binational Commission, which is scheduled for Abuja 23rd and 24th, whether it will take place. They were very keen to go because we are going to discuss something around regional security. They were very keen to go, and I gave them the assurance that I am sure that we will